Hello YouTube and welcome to another llama.cpp tutorial. So in this video we're gonna actually take a look at the llama-server command overview. So are you ready? Let's get started. So as you have seen on my last video, we have actually downloaded the llama.cpp package and we have executed using the command line interface. So let me show you the folder that we have downloaded actually. So this is the files that we have downloaded that we have actually unzipped, and here of course you can see the famous command llama-server.exec that will be executing actually, and we have also downloaded the model. So here we are using coin model, but you can use whatever model you want, okay? And we have after that launched a simple command. So we have launched a simple command using llama-server here, with specifying here our model and the host and also the port, okay? So it was very basic one that we have executed in order to serve this actually model. So in this video we're gonna actually deep dive into the command line interface in order to see the most used actually parameters or flags. Okay, so here you can see the llama-server turns your model into an OpenAI-compatible HTTP API. So you start it once, then any app can send a request to it. So as you can see, here is the basic structure. So you launched your llama-server, you specify a flag -m for model, and here you give it the path to your model name, okay? And after that you can actually add different flags. So here for example you can see -m, which stands for a model, okay? So you give it the file name of your model, okay? There is also the host, port, CN, temperature, NGL, FA and T. So we're gonna take a look at all these flags and explain them, okay? So how it works. So you run llama-server once in a terminal, it loads the model and wait for HTTP requests, okay? So any app that can call an API, for example a Python script, VS Code, extension or web app, can now talk to your local AI. So the server stays running until you press Ctrl+C in order to stop it, of course here in your terminal, okay? So let's see the next step. So we're gonna see now those flags --host and --port. So these two flags control where the server listens, okay? So by default it only accepts connection from your own computer, so actually the computer that you run the terminal from, okay? So you can change them to share across your network, okay? So by default it listens only on this address, which is our localhost 127.0.0.1, which is very famous, okay? And the port by default is 8080, as you can see here, okay? So as I told you, by default it only your computer can reach this address here. So it's safe for personal use and no one else on the network can connect. So only your computer can connect. But if you change it, as you can see here, you can add 4 zeros, okay? So now any device on your Wi-Fi or LAN actually can reach your actually the IP address of your computer, okay? And here most of the time we use it with an API key in order actually to add a secure layer, okay, for security reasons, because it's now available to everyone on your network, okay? So let's go. So you can also change the default port. So sometimes you are running different application on your actually computer, and some applications may also use the default port of 8080, so you can change it here using this dash port. So here, as you can see, we specify the port 3000. Okay, so it's useful if the port 8080 is already taken by another app. Okay, so to summarize that, so by default only the local host can reach your server, so it's more secure. Use this when you do not need network access. So if you only want to work on your computer, you can just stick on this localhost address. But if you specify 4 zeros, so in this case all interfaces, so any device on your Wi-Fi or actually LAN network can connect to it. So it's better to use it with an API key for security reasons. And of course, finally, you can change the default port, which is 8080, if some application is actually already take this port. Okay, so let's move on. So here we're gonna talk about a very important actually parameter, which is the context size. So you can specify it using the -c or --ctx size. So this flag actually sets how much text the model can remember at once. So this actually text includes your prompt, so what you are request, and also the AI response. So the more context, the more VRAM used. So you have to pay attention to this. You have to know how much VRAM that you have in order to set this context size. Okay. So the flag, of course, is a -c. So the default actually value is 4096, and the range can vary depending on your model limit. So each model has its own limit. Okay, and here just to have an approximation, so 1 megabytes per actually 1000 tokens. Okay, and here you can see the different tokens, context size versus text length. So 2048 is equivalent to 3 pages, 4096 equivalent to 6 pages, okay, and so on. So here, as I told you, in order to run it, you just specify -c and the value. So here, for example, we specify 4096 token, which approximately 6 pages of text memory. Okay, so it's good for casual chat, low VRAM usage, and it's fast. Okay, and if we specify, for example, here the context of 16,384, which is actually 24 pages of text memory, so it uses 4 times more VRAM for KV cache. We're gonna talk about that. So you have to make sure that you have enough GPU memory in this case. So to summarize that, how context works. So when you send a chat message, the model looks at all previous messages in the conversation. So if the total exceeded -c value, the oldest message get dropped. So -c, for example, 400 or 4096 means that the model forgets anything beyond 6 pages approximately. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. So let's move on. So now we're gonna talk about the n predict. So the n-n or -n-predict, it set the maximum number of tokens the model will generate in single response. Okay, so one token, you have to keep also in mind, one token is equivalent to roughly 0.75 words. And here you can see a table that shows tokens versus words. So 180 or 28 tokens is equivalent to 100 words, and 512 tokens is equivalent to 380 words, and so on. Okay, And of course the default is -1, which is unlimited, so it stops at the end of text token. Okay, and of course here you can see the command that we can use. So here, for example, we specify -n 256. Okay, so it's equivalent to 190 words per response. So it's fast, concise answers. So it's great for QA, quick summaries, and chat bots. Okay, but if we specify, for example, here 4096, so it's approximately 3000 words per response. So it's good for essays, stories, and code. So you get longer responses, take more time, so the model might ramble if the topic is vague. Okay, and there is a pro tip. So even with -n equivalent to -1, which is unlimited, the model stops when it thinks it's done. So usually at natural sentence ending. So setting specific -n is mainly useful for APIs where you want to limit the cost for response length. Okay, so you have to keep in mind, because if you are using cloud APIs, you have to pay for each token, so you have to specify that. So let's go to the next step. So now we'll be talking about the temperature. So --temp. So --temp controls how random or creative the model output is. So lower is more predictable, so higher is more surprising. So think of it as the AI's personality dial. Okay, so the default is 0.8, and the range can vary from 0 to 2. Okay, so for 0 it's deterministic, for 0.3 is focused, 0.7, which is most used, is balanced. Okay, and you have also 1, which is creative, and 1.5 or plus is chaotic. Okay, so for coding we mostly use low temperature, for example 0.1 or 0.2. So okay, so the model picks the most likely next token at every step. So as I told you, it's perfect for code. Okay, but if we specify a higher value, like for example 0.9, here you have imaginative responses, so great for stories or brainstorming. Okay, so may produce less factual or inconsistent answers, so it's not ideal for math or code. So for math or code you only use some 0.1 or 0.2 values. Okay, so this is a summary here. So from 0 to 0.2 it's used for code generation, math, fact checking, structured output, always the best answer. Okay, and between 0.5 and 0.8 it's general chat, Q&A, summarization, balanced between accuracy and natural flow. And of course if you use some higher values like 1 or 1.5, it's mostly for creative writing, poetry, brainstorming, replay, and more surprising and diverse. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. There is also a very important flag, which is the GPU offload and extra flags. So these flags control performance, memory, and security. So it's essential for getting the most out of your hardware. So for example, -ngl, so how many model layers to load into the GPU VRAM. So if you want to use all layers, you specify 99. Okay, there is also flag FA, which stands for flash attentions or attention, so it's faster and uses less RAM. There is also -T for threads, so you can specify CPU threads for non-GPU work. So you can specify depending on how many cores you have into your GPU, or threads actually. And here you can see the API key used if you serve on your network. You don't want anyone to access your server. You want just some specific persons, so you give them an API key in order to access your AI model. And here is also another option, -mlock, which locks the model in RAM, so it prevents Windows swap. Okay, so you can use that also. And finally, there is another option, -np, which stands for parallel, so it's number of concurrent request slots. So here you can use 2 or 3 or 4 depending on your needs. And here you can see some simple example using, for example, ngl. Okay, and also if you want to use API keys for serving into your network. Okay, so for example here -ngl99, so it put everything on your GPU. So use this if your model fits into your VRAM, so it's fastest possible speed. Okay, for the flash attention, always enable it if supported, so it saves VRAM and speed up long context interface significantly. And of course the API key option, so it's required when exposing to LAN. Okay, so it prevents unauthorized access to your server. And finally the mlock option, which prevents Windows from paging the model to disk. And here is the final actually step. So you can add many different options in one line here, so you can specify all the flags in one line into your terminal. So here we specify the host, port, context, the N, predict, temperature, ngl, F. So those are the most used actually options in order to serve your AI model locally. Okay, and here you find some actually some compilations that you can run also into your browser if you want to get, for example, check the server status and the chat using the API-compatible chat here, and for embedding and compilation. So now you understand --host --port -c -n -temperature -ngl and -fa. Okay, so you can play with these parameters in order to actually tweak your AI model in order to suit your needs. So that was just all for this video. I wanted just to show you some basic options that you can use with the llama-server command line interface. So if you like the video, don't forget to share it with your friends, make a comment, or also like if you want. So as always, I hope it has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.